So this past February, we planted clover as a cover crop in our orchard, and there's some questions that need to be answered about that. Now, the first question is what type of clover? Now, we went with a white clover because a white clover typically spreads out laterally, doesn't get super tall, and it's also really good at reseeding itself. So that means I don't have to necessarily reseed this year after year. Now, to be more specific on what type of white clover, I suggest checking out your local extension office or your local farmer's co-op that sells clover in your area. Now, the next question would be, does planting clover in your orchard attract deer? And that would be absolutely yes. Now, we have seen deer come through grazing on some of the clover. It's not been that big of a deal because we have put cages around all of our younger fruit trees now that have helped keep the deer off. But yes, if you plant a food source that deer like, they will probably show up. But the clover also flowers, and that attracts more pollinators, so I feel like that's a kind of give and take situation. Now, the last question would be, is clover safe to have around grazing livestock? And the answer is, well, yes and maybe no. Now, the problem with a heavy legume like a clover is that it can cause bloat in your livestock, you know, chickens, that sort of thing. But that's really a big issue depending on certain times of the year and if that's the only thing that the livestock have access to. So in our orchard, it is heavy planted in clover, and we don't have any livestock, but we do have some chickens. So on the chickens, what we basically do in the fall is they get free range of the entire farm when all the crops are out. So they can eat some clover, but they also have access to other things to eat, other grasses, other things that we feed them. So I'm not too worried about it, but it's definitely something you need to watch out for, making sure that your livestock, your chickens, don't solely eat clover. But as with anything, moderation is key when it comes to eating. But overall, couldn't be more happy with how our clover looks in the orchard. I've had to do very little maintenance to take care of it. It looks great. It's kept the weeds down. There's just a few things you need to think about before planting clover as a cover crop in your orchard. For more growing guide information, tips, and tricks so you have a bountiful harvest, you can head over to starkbros.com.